One of the overriding memories from my childhood is a spud gun. Like that was one of the most. You get if you've got a fresh potato, that is all the ammunition you need. You can just continue
I'd argue
firing.
that a slightly older potato is even better ammunition. It's like a hollow point bullet, just explodes on impact.
Did I ever tell you about my limited edition spud gun that I bought?
All the time,
Yeah.
but not on record.
I could hear the story again.
Apparently, it's not a spud gun unless it's a spudomatic.
So anyway, hello, welcome to this second episode of Trufax, which is what we, I think, have now decided the title is, despite some uncertainty during the previous episode. With us today, as usual, is Ed Sanders.
Hello.
Ryder Broadbent Smith.
Hello.
And me, Dan Hills. So we've kind of settled on our format now, I think. We're going to pick a topic each week to discuss, and we're all going to come armed with a question that we have around the subject, something that's going to inspire some kind of conversation and debate. So the subject we've settled on for this week is the dark web.
The dark web.
The dark net, the deep web, whatever you want to call it. The nefarious underbelly of the internet.
What could it be? We'll find out.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah.
What is it?
So from my understanding, the dark web is the parts of the internet that aren't accessible via conventional means. This is partially due to the massive size of the internet and also how most search engines will work. So they'll only display the most kind of relevant information. So while Google is showing you 400 million results in a matter of seconds, you're not actually going to see all of those results because some of them are, or it's not picking up on all the results that they could be.
So are you saying the dark web is like the 4 millionth result, the one you'll never get to?
The what? Like
you'll click on one of the first 10.
Yeah.
But is the dark web still in the result as the 4 millionth?
Actually, it's a really good point because I'm not actually sure.
No.
I think no. I think that actually my analogy is not correct there, or my way of looking at it is not correct because from what the search engines, the way I had it described was if you are fishing in the ocean, like a search engine is putting a kind of fishing net across the bottom of the ocean, and you'll get so many results, but there's still the rest of the sea down there. You pick up some stuff, but you won't pick up it all. So it's all the stuff that's inaccessible due to it not being clicked on enough, it having private logins and stuff. So it's you can't access this unless you have certain permissions for that website. But then there's also kind of specific places in the dark web.
It's a back door. It's a hidden back alley. It's like behind the scenes. The theatre of the internet is what you see.
Yeah.
From the stage, the dark web could be behind those scenes. Behind the scenes.
I think so.
Behind the Iron Curtain, the safety curtain, to carry on with this theatre analogy, not the Cold War. It's what you can't see.
Behind the Eastern Bloc.
Yeah, well, we'll come to talk about it, I'm sure. I think a lot of the dark web is based in the former Soviet Union. That's where a lot of these nefarious things on offer from.
Really?
Within the dark web. I imagine so. That's what the
Russians see them with AK-47s all the time.
Yeah, and where do they get them? The dark web.
Dark web.
Yeah.
Where did they get them before the dark web?
Good question.
The dark.
Maybe that will be answered
shop?
in another episode.
The weapons episode.
The dark supermarket.
I think that's a real thing. I mean, maybe not named that, but you can probably, there is a marketplace for all things that it's like Sky Mall. It's just
Sky Mall. What's that? Is that a shopping channel?
It's maybe not. I don't think so.
QVC.
I think it's more like a shopping mall, but on the internet. So it's you can buy watches, you can buy shoes, you can buy limes. All your daily needs.
Isn't
Trousers.
It called Sky Mall though because it's in a catalogue on an aeroplane?
Oh,
isn't it all duty free stuff?
In the sky.
You're in the sky. It is literally a Sky Mall.
I've taken it to mean
except
internet.
It's not literally a mall.
No,
you're literally in the sky.
So half of it's true.
It's a sky book.
Is that the opposite of the deep web? Is that the lighter than?
Hang on.
The normal web.
Wait, deep web and dark web.
I think they're the same thing.
Is this just interchangeable, or
there isn't a set name for it? It's just there's terms that people use that are related to it, but there isn't a set name. It's all part of the internet, but it's just there is the internet that we are all exposed to and all use, and the dark web is just part of that, but it's just got a bit of an ominous name because of the things that are there.
Deep and dark. Both of those are pretty ominous, and they both go towards that fishing trawler metaphor that you used.
I mean, there was the if you search dark web on you go to the Google Images, you'll see an iceberg, and it's like the idea is on top of the iceberg is like the amount of the internet that we all have access to, but then the bigger part of the iceberg, which is underneath the water, is the dark web, because they say that
there's got to be some boring parts to that.
Oh, like, totally.
For example, your iCloud details are on the web, and I'm never going to go into that. Does that make it to me the dark web?
No, because I can still access it very easily. I don't think it does anyway. Like, I think it's more that this is you can't get to it via conventional means, whereas you could get to that information via conventional means as long as you had
steal your password.
Yeah.
Would you give me your password?
Probably not.
You could just say it right now.
No.
We can edit it out. We're very good at editing.
Yeah, we can clip it. Dan, would you give me your password?
Not right now. I appear to have lost my voice temporarily there. Next time. Ask me next week.
Do you have an apt description of what you think the dark web is? A metaphor?
Not a metaphor. The iceberg one is pretty spot on, I think, from what I understand of it. It's kind of what is hanging out at the bottom of that iceberg under the water. So you have kind of the private internet, which is people hosting their own files, their own websites for personal use, whatever, that aren't archived, publicly used. But the dark web is more kind of traded on its anonymity and that sort of stuff. Like going back to the marketplace kind of analogy, the Sky Mall analogy, a big part of the dark web is like a black market, essentially.
So who's on it?
Not me. During my research, I figured out how to access it, but I still have never.
Did you have a look?
No, because I didn't bother downloading the stuff. That's how committed to not knowing the truth I am. And I think that is what you'll get from me in this podcast.
An inaccurate representation of the truth?
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
I'm going to spout some facts later on that are based in some fact, but largely not.
Which makes them true facts. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good point.
It is.
Yeah. I think if I looked into it too much, you'd both be disappointed. If I just had actual knowledge to share.
I think that's definitely a thing, though. Is like I lost it. Sorry, I was gonna say quite a poignant point.
I want to know why these people want to remain anonymous.
I think
what are they doing?
So recent laws have caused people to become more keen to use the dark web, or just like that idea of anonymity. It's like the internet previously has always been just kind of like the Wild West. It's like you can kind of turn up anywhere, be whoever you want, but now that we know that everything is being monitored, not necessarily actively, like it's not like there's no one trying to get us, but it's more just if they ever had a reason to come and find information about us, they have an insane amount of data based on everyone because they've got programs that will monitor that.
Have you had any experience of that monitoring?
But I mean, only in my own paranoia, but probably not in reality. Like we all have in the real world.
I once went on the Adidas online store, and for 6 weeks, every single website I went to had adverts for Adidas trainers. Like every single one. I
Google searched some images of some ducks the other day, and now on Facebook I got an advert for Shuttershock with an image of a mallard. It's like
they know so much about you.
But I mean that's more just like, that's Google's advertising algorithm. Whereas like this sort of stuff is they know personal information, they know people's browsing habits, and it's just there on record that they could access at any point.
They're just trying to sell us stuff.
Not Google are, but
not to make it try and make it sound less.
Well, no, but there's two levels to it. Like, as in, we're being monitored on the browsing and stuff like that. But then there's also by the browsers that we're using and the services that we use. But there is also then all the stuff that came out with the NSA and things like that. Like, it's also being monitored by other programs and other people, but not necessarily used for anything malicious. Like, as in, it's just there. It's in that sort of sense of, like, say if you ended up being arrested for something and they were like, they wanted to put you down for it, and then they looked you up on their database and they found out that you had actually illegally, downloaded a car or something like that. And
I could try.
Yeah.
There's that advert that says you wouldn't download a car. So many people have told me that they would if that was possible.
With 3D printers now, I wouldn't be surprised if you could. take a while. But
It's illegal to download a gun on a 3D printer because it's possible.
yeah, I saw that. That's quite frightening. You could download a spud gun, I'm sure. Though.
Frightening that I would do as well.
Yeah.
Let's get a
Maybe
3D
we should buy a
printer.
3D printer.
They can't be too expensive.
They're about probably less than 1,000.
What do they run on?
Electricity.
Dreams.
And then like
Spuds.
some weird, it's just like a plastic that's all kind of dusty, and then it makes it into the right stuff.
Runs on
on
dust. Right, let's empty the Hoover bag, get a 3D printer, and make us some spud guns.
Sweet.
Right,
Open
at this
warfare.
point, I'm going to move the conversation
What?
around to the... you'll get a chance, Friday.
Well, no, I just mean, if I may ask,
Oh, right.
what's your understanding of the dark web?
My understanding of the dark web, well, I 3-4 years ago maybe went to the Silk Road. .com. It's not .com. It's not the Silk Road.
It's .onion. Is it .onion?
Dot onion.
That's the secret thing. What do you call the end bit of a web address?
The com.
The kasherbadub. So .onion is the kasherbadub of the secret web.
Do you know why it's called an onion?
It's layers.
It's
got layers.
It's layers.
Yeah.
Layers upon layers.
Donkeys are like onions.
Yeah.
They have layers.
It's ogres that are like onions.
Oh. And the donkey asks the question.
Yeah. Is that right?
You guys-
Onions make you cry. Is that a really good thing to be like? I'd rather be like a chocolate mousse.
Bring you joy.
Why? How would you describe a chocolate mousse?
Sweet.
That's it. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. What was the question?
What's your understanding of the dark web?
The dark web, yes. So, about 3 years ago, I went to silkroad.onion. Didn't make me cry, but it did... it was like at Amazon for guns and drugs.
Do they sell guns on Silk Road?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
I only thought it was drugs.
It's quite expensive. I remember them being like the thousands of... Well, equivalent to pounds, but because it was bitcoins.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually pounds. And that's... We'll talk about bitcoins later. That's my stumbling block in terms of using the Silk Road, which I ended up not. I just browsed.
Yeah.
I was a window shopper, as it were. Yeah. And it didn't seem like the stuff on there was mostly illegal. Like most of it seemed... Well, yeah, there's kind of like so 50% legal, 50% illegal, but definitely illegal to trade.
Yeah.
I was looking for prescription medicine that my doctor just wouldn't give me. But it was available in droves on the Silk Road. But
Here's a statistic that I think is true, that I did read earlier on. I think 14.1% of everything sold through dark web marketplaces like Silk Road, whatever the ones that overtook it in the last few years were, is drugs. And then something like 7 or 8% is weapons.
Wow.
what's the rest? Because that only makes it like 20%.
There's
a lot of prostitution.
Kind of services. So, like a lot of hackers and stuff, obviously, are there. You can
Botnets.
hire services, get people to kind of run botnets, that sort of stuff.
What's a botnet?
A botnet is when you've got like 1,000 computers infected with some kind of not a virus, a Trojan,
Like
or
a
something.
program. Yeah.
And then you want to bring down a website. You get all these 1,000 computers
Like
to
a
access that website.
DDoS attack sort of thing. Yeah,
pretty much. It is a place you can go and kind of gather a team up.
So you're saying that this
to
is
do
where
it.
they'd sell their services?
Yeah, pretty much. Like guns for hire. It's like Craigslist for.
Like I get
Less
that it's not
legal.
necessarily.
Craigslist is almost illegal. I mean, some of the shit on there is weird.
There was I think it might have been based. It was either on Gumtree or on Craigslist. There was the Kevin Smith film called Tusk, which was based on an advert either posted on Gumtree or Craigslist about someone who had been to the Arctic, had made a friend with a walrus. The walrus died, and he wanted to employ someone full time to live free of charge. No, to live in his house and be paid and be the walrus. Kevin Smith then made a horror film based around it.
There's a Beatles song like that, isn't it? I am the walrus.
Is that what that song is about? The pre-internet days, then.
Yeah.
But it was a
They
guy.
called it- It's a prophecy of some kind.
It's his outlet. He was looking for his own walrus there. John Lennon. Did he write that one? I don't know. It's probably a Ringo one, isn't it? It's weird.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? He wrote the octopus one as well.
What's the octopus one?
The octopus's garden. I'd like to be
Don't sing
under
it.
the sea.
We'll have to pay.
Yeah, I like that. It's
Stop.
quite a nice rhythm to it, though. Like,
It's like a nursery rhyme.
yeah.
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 Or it isn't, obviously, if we have to pay royalties for me just saying that as well. Where were we?
I
What was being
think we
said?
covered what so you used Silk
So,
Road. Well,
is there a
you
God?
looked at Silk Road.
Yes.
And,
Silk
What
Road
did you
was
find?
like
You
it was
told
just
us
a
what you found.
like a shop. I
So
told
it's
you,
like an online marketplace.
I didn't buy
with
anything.
stuff.
The dark web. It was slow. The dark web.
Really?
Yeah, frustratingly slow, and I'd probably only connect like once out of every 3 tries. The reason it's the onion concept is because, and it has layers, is because each one of those is a layer of cryptography, of encryption. And the reason it's slow is because it not only has to encrypt and decrypt at each one of those stages, but it also goes to a different location on the planet.
Okay.
To try and obscure your
Location
and remain anonymous.
However, it's still important to kind of keep your own defences up while you're using these browsers that let you do that.
Yeah,
because
like private browsing mode.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand how to do it, but I just feel that that's probably like, because if you're kind of accessing a thing that's letting you pass all the other stuff, then you're kind of opening the door and other stuff could come in your way. So I think it's like...
Yeah, part of the browser is that you become one of the nodes on the network
Yeah.
that will encrypt and send information for other people. I don't know. I wondered if ever law enforcement say they wanted to track somebody and saw that it went through your node, would that incriminate you at that point?
I guess it just shows that you've used this browser, but anyone can download. It's like unless the downloading the browser was illegal, then no, because there's
The browser was created by the US Navy.
Well, then I'd hope it's not illegal. I mean, actually, it feels like if we had access, was it? Tor are we speaking of?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
TOR.
The onion route or router. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
It was created by them because they wanted a way to, like, be secretive on the web and look at secret documents and stuff. But they also wanted to be anonymous, and so if every single time it came from this secret location, you knew that the only people with access to it were the Navy,
Wow.
not secret.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they had to give it away to the public.
That's amazing. And then it kind of became this
Used
other
for
thing
the complete opposite of what the Navy...
had maybe intended.
Well, maybe they did intend it all along.
I mean, in some way, they're the architect of their own of the downfall of law enforcement in their country. They gave people the tools to be anonymous and to trade drugs illegally over the internet.
It's very forward thinking in a way, giving someone the gift of anonymity. It's almost too progressive for the US Navy, I feel. Definitely was not an intended consequence.
I mean, there are some pretty smart people in the US Navy, I'm sure. Like, they're not all representative of the bad ideologies in a Navy. I'm sure there are some good people. Maybe it's like maybe he just had a good idea and was like, this actually, I'm letting things out from the inside.
On the subject of boats, do you pilot a ship?
Yeah.
Do you captain a ship?
You do. You know, there is a captain of the ship. Yeah.
But so you are the captain, but do you captain the ship?
Right.
Like a pilot pilots a plane,
Right.
but does a captain captain a ship, or does
No,
he
the
just
captain
drive
does-
the boat, steer the ship?
I think
Because
it's steer or something like that.
other people can drive the ship.
Other than the captain.
Other than the
Like
captain.
the first mate.
Yeah, or just like the navigator might have a hand at it if like
I think
there's.
he reads the maps.
I mean, but he might every now and then steer the ship.
Yeah, that's true. Backseat driver.
I guess there's a lot less to crash into in the sea. Like on a plane, you need the pilot because if you go up or down by accident, you crash, everyone dies. But a ship, if you just want to have a quick go at spinning the wheel around, there's not too much peril there. It's like driving by committee. Is that what he is? He's just like a team leader, and everyone gets a hand on the wheel. Is the wheel? Is that what you call it?
The Wheel of Fortune.
Stern. I want to say stern.
I think stern means the back of the boat.
Probably. I've like some of my family are sailors. I hope they never listen to this.
Did you never get taught any sailing?
I've been on a boat, but I didn't get taught how to sail.
Ah.
I had the opportunity to.
It
But I
looks
just
like a
didn't.
lot of hard work. You know, all that rigging and moving this left and that right. And
I do. In answer to your question, though, I think. Have you ever seen Firefly?
No, I'm aware of its existence. Does that count?
Yes. Like in
It's
that
good enough. Given the nature of this very podcast, that is fantastic. That's
That
all you
means I'm
need.
an expert.
they're flying a ship,
Okay.
but they call it piloting. And no, they call it a boat quite often in the scenes.
Yeah.
It's a very confused show in its identity. It's like the Wild West, but it's got a lot of like piracy and
Cowboys in
nautical
space.
themed. Yeah, pirates. Cowboys never had boats.
Yeah, but I mean, like cowboys are just on land pirates.
Yeah, but then cowboys didn't run around calling their horse their ship.
Call it a
We don't
horse.
know that.
It's very true. I've never been there.
Why is ships always female?
There's definitely there's a real answer to that, but I think it's because the ocean is also a woman.
Right. How? But that just adds
The
another
ocean is
question.
but wasn't
That's
it,
not an answer.
these old seamen, they were kind
Seamen?
of the seamen. They were so
Getting
committed
into
to the
woman.
ocean. The ocean was their mistress. Like they were
Yeah.
more in love with the idea of being at sea than
And in the boat.
their own wives and children and families.
I may say it was bad luck to bring a woman on board. So maybe
I think that was just old sexism, though. Like, that's just an old form of sexism. Like, I reckon it's just because they didn't think a woman could do the proper job. Like, I don't think it was based on fact.
I think it's partly control of the sailors as well. You know,
Ooh.
if they're thinking about women and what comes with it, then they're not focusing on sailing.
But if they're all sailing as a gang, like a couple of them can have these impure thoughts about women if they want. There's someone else on that. That's why there's so many prongs on the wheel. Everyone
each
just
of
grabs hold of one of the little sticks.
My mind went to something else.
So my question, the first question of the episode, is: in pop culture, there's been a lot of terrible examples of kind of the internet representations of the internet. What is the most accurate or realistic depiction of the internet in general? Cybercrime, the dark web, kind of the sort of things we've been talking about already in pop culture. So movies, music, TV, comics. Go.
Yeah. I would start with thinking the most accurate for me, in my experience, is Mr. Robot. It's an Amazon original series. I know Dan has watched some of it.
I've seen it all but the last episode.
Oh!
Because my computer broke. I used the internet to download it.
Yeah.
Will I go to prison for admitting that?
Wait,
I'll subscribe to
I mean, you
Prime
could,
now.
well, that wasn't clear at the beginning. You could have said that you downloaded it.
Legally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
via-
that's-
Through
via
Amazon
Amazon,
Prime. A good
yeah.
feature of that is you can download things for offline viewing, so that is definitely what I've done.
Uh-huh.
But then my
We're so
Mike-
strictly legal on the show.
my computer went all wonky, and I haven't
Rejigged it.
got it back.
Yeah.
So I've seen all but the last episode. So don't
Right.
tell me how it ends.
For somebody who doesn't know what you're talking about, could you explain it? Why is what?
So
Why is it convincing?
it's essentially about, there's like an umbrella corporation called E Corp. They're sort of like, they're the Apple or Microsoft of this world. Or like the umbrella corporation in Resident Evil. They are in everyone's homes. Everyone is using their devices.
Their fingers in all the pies.
They're a bank. They've got
They're
everything.
making the pies as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I love pie.
And there's this guy who's working for a company who works in data security, and he is essentially like a hacktivist. He wants to bring down and break the cogs.
Is he Snowden?
He's a lot cooler. Well, I don't know. I've never met Snowden, but he's not
Seems
Snowden.
like a bit of a dweeb, doesn't he, Snowden?
This guy, you'd perceive him maybe as a dweeb if you just saw him in the street.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
but you
He's
look a little bit
fictional.
like
I
Edward
don't think
Snowden.
he'll be offended.
Thank God for that.
I just inadvertently called you a dweeb. I'm glad you didn't hear that.
I kind of am.
But basically, it's about trying to bring down the man via technology and stuff.
Computers.
By what?
Ooh, by computers.
By computers.
Yeah.
Bring down the man, like the inverted commas.
Yeah.
The man.
Yeah, yeah.
The man.
And everyone's in debt and everything, and it's like they want to not be in debt.
Well, I think that the main setup point is that there's him and his an old school friend of his, or a friend from when they were kids. Their parents both got killed by something that E Corp caused. There was an accident of some description, and they never accepted responsibility for that. They kind of covered it up, brushed it under the
He
carpet.
needs Julia Roberts.
Why?
What's she called?
Sandra
Erin
Bullock.
Brockovich.
No,
Never seen Erin Brockovich.
Have you? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I've never seen it.
Oh, right. So she's a lawyer and she fights for people who are being poisoned by a big corporation. And she, ends up getting a conviction for this corporation.
There's an Erin Brockovich-esque character in it. Having not seen the last episode, I don't know how that whole lawsuit subplot
She dies.
turns out.
She gets shot.
In Erin Brockovich or in Mr. Robot? Both.
Maybe.
Spoilers.
I don't know.
It's got Christian Slater in it.
Oh right.
Yeah, and he's very good in it.
He plays the eponymous Mr. Robot.
He's in Archer too.
He is as Slater.
Mr. Slater. Just Slater.
Yeah, I don't know. It just deals with. It feels very real world esque. I think a lot of the hacking that they do in the show is actually like real hack. It's like the code is correct. It's not like them just sitting in front of a. It's not like they're going into the computer or anything like that. It's just like they're sitting.
Lawnmower Man style.
Lawnmower Man.
Have you ever seen Lawnmower Man? It's an old Pierce Brosnan film. Again, I've not seen it in a very long time.
It's just a guy on a lawnmower.
It would have been probably a more entertaining film if that was it. But no, it's at the early days of CG, and there's like a monster in a computer or some bullshit like that, and then someone goes into a computer and it's very bad CG where it's just blue and then there's a computer face.
Oh, like Tron.
Tron, yeah.
Tron was very stylized, at least. Lawnmower Man was just a mess of early 90s special effects.
It's so bad.
So, Hackers.
Hackers.
With Freddie Prinze Jr.?
No.
He's a man.
So, Johnny Lee Miller, Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
They met and got married after that film.
Did they?
She's not married to him anymore.
No, she's traded up, I would say. Not that I've got anything against Johnny Lee Miller, but his best film probably was Hackers to date.
Well, I thought he was Freddie Prinze Jr.
Do you think actors judge each other based on the quality of their films? Because, you know, is she actually trading up there? What if he was like, what if Brad Pitt's like not as nice a guy? What if he smacks her?
I don't think he does, though. I think he's alright.
How do you know?
Because
he's got better films?
I saw that Facebook post that he wrote about Angelina Jolie. That was quite nice.
He wrote about his wife.
Like he was saying, like she had apparently been dealing with like image disorders and stuff like that. How she didn't ever think that she was beautiful or anything, and he was wanting to be supportive for her, and then kind of continued to do that, and then things started to get better with the way that she looked at herself, and she like kind of put on weight when she was dangerously skinny and stuff, and it was just like, I am married to an amazing person.
Well, we knew that.
Yeah, but I think he said it a bit more eloquently and nicer and better than I did. It was good.
Do you think famous people, like obviously that's an exception where he's come out and said, "Oh, my wife's an amazing person," on a personal level because they're equals. Like, do famous people do that to each other, or is there always this kind of hierarchy,
maybe it's the other way,
jealousy
like,
and stuff? Yeah,
you're actually so average. And that's it's like an inverse
just
compliment.
a normal person, you've got no ego at all. Doesn't matter that you've been in the 5 highest grossing films of the year, that you're the most handsome man in the world. You're just an average guy to me.
What, do you reckon that's true?
I don't think so. No, I think that there'd still be a level of ego,
a level of bring me my coffee.
Yeah, from
actors who are used to having everything brought to them.
Yeah.
But maybe if they're on the same page, and especially if they met on set as equals, like, you know, they've just got other people to bring them coffee all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, would if you were an actor, let's do a little role play here. Ed, you're a very famous actor.
Okay.
Ryder,
hi.
You're a slightly less famous actor, but you've been romantically involved for a while.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, honey.
Yeah.
Good. I did a little wink. You can't see that, but
I saw it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
So this appreciation. You're both at home here, just sitting by the fireplace in your huge Hollywood Hills mansion.
I would bring up in conversation the amount of money my latest movie had made.
Of course you would.
Just because. Actually, no. Now looking at your face, that would make me sad. Because it would make you sad.
I mean, mine was a cult hit, and I think that's where the real fans are. So
$95 million.
But then if you strip all that away, can you still talk to each other like human beings?
So
you spend your careers...
I'm a little bit chilly.
Of course. Yeah. Should I pick up milk and eggs tomorrow at the supermarket?
I think we're all right for milk and eggs, but
fantastic.
Maybe some celery or kale.
Yeah, no, I'm getting a divorce.
Oh.
Sorry.
I didn't say you were married.
Oh, right.
Well, we're going to get married tomorrow.
Healthy. How could you not like milk and eggs?
What?
You would trade milk and eggs for celery and kale.
Oh, yeah. No, I have a lot of porridge.
Kale is so peppery.
Is it? I think you've been putting too much pepper on it.
Don't put any pepper on it.
It's not at all peppery.
Am I eating something different to you?
Potentially. I mean, we earn different amounts in films. Like, maybe you're getting peppered kale.
You're talking about
on
Rocket.
your rich set.
You're talking about Rocket.
You know, it's apparently so Rocket. It's called
one.
a
That's
bunch.
the peppery one.
Yeah.
Rocket gets called other things in different countries. The reason it's called Rocket...
Well, everything does.
Well, yeah, but like a chair is a chair in another country. Like, as in, it's not like a four-legged walkie stick man.
It's not a man, is it? Either?
Well, no, but like it wouldn't be called that. But it'd be called a chair. Like Rocket apparently is called Rocket in the UK because it was marketed to try and like it would make a salad rocket from the plate, and it would like take things that sound a bit more kind of like plain and make them like kind of extra tasty and stuff, and give it a bit more higher taste levels.
Okay, so you're saying that Rocket the ship isn't a synonym for Rocket the leaf in every other country?
Huh?
You're saying its name is like a marketing thing, right?
Yeah. It wasn't.
So in France, the name for Rocket translate to I don't know.
Well, it wasn't
hospital.
it wasn't called Rocket until
Helicopter.
like the mid 1950s. They didn't call.
Oh right,
Yeah.
Even in English speaking world.
Maybe not the mid 1950s, maybe earlier than that.
Right.
But like, as in, it was called or known generally as something else. Like its actual name as a herb or a plant is totally different.
Yeah, because you think about like herb names, you know, rosemary,
Oregano.
heather, oregano, paprika. None of these sound like Rocket does, which sounds like a pretty modern thing.
Yeah. Do you remember those lollies that were in the shape of rockets that were like multiple flavors? Mm-hmm. They were pretty good.
Yeah, they were good.
Oh, yeah, the one that they're just rocket lollies. Sorry, I had a complete mental blank there.
Twisters were pretty good.
Did we talk about Twisters last week?
We did. Maybe not on mic, but yeah, Twisters are good.
That can be a segment every week. We'll just talk about
we
Twisters.
discussed what flavours the Twisters were. What different?
They're lime, lemon, and strawberry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's ice cream and ice lolly on the same.
Yeah. It's a healthy combination of the two.
So anyway, I think what we've learnt from that role play is the exact reason why Angelina Jolie and Johnny Lee Miller got divorced. They fell out over naming conventions of herbs. They didn't want Rocket in their salads. And the cult hit with his cult herbs thrown by the wayside.
Yeah.
But Hackers is a tremendous movie.
Does Tron count as a sort of hacking film? Or, I mean, it's a representation
very
of computers.
computery.
Like, it's a kind of deep web, isn't it? It's like it's in its own intranet. Like,
Did you see the new one?
I did.
Uh-huh.
Tron Legacy.
Can you
With Olivia Wilde.
tell me what the plot was? Because, again, I cannot remember it.
So, from what I understand, Jeff Bridges, the original... the son of Jeff Bridges, or Jeff Bridges' character in the first Tron, his dad is still missing, or something like that.
Yeah.
He goes to the old arcade, which is called... his character's
Flynn's?
name,
Flynn's?
yeah, and like he finds the Tron machine, finds the machine to get inside the Tron game, goes in there and is like, whoa, and then there's a sort of kind of like gladiator arena sort of situation. He's just kind of designated as one of the pieces of code or whatever they get referred to.
He's like a bug, isn't he? And then he gets trapped and then sent to this Colosseum.
And they have to fight to the death, really, because as soon as they get hit by those light discs, they
get
and
to
it's
the-
like
Like
it's like an upgraded version to what it used to be like, and everything's a bit more
way
high-rated.
upgraded.
And Daft Punk are there. And then it's like, then he is going to be in a sticky situation, and Olivia Wilde shows up by essentially breaking down the code walls that he is in. Like, as in, that's kind of like, they are walls of code, or it's a code coliseum.
Is she on a bike at
She
this
has
point?
a bike. It's a cooler bike. than the
Two-seater
other
bike,
bikes.
because she escapes with him in the
Yeah.
vehicle.
Maybe I
car.
can't remember if she just like creates another level to the bike, like as in no. I think the bike.
There is a light cycle bit.
Yeah,
as
there
well.
is. But yeah, they break out of it. They go and sit in their own little area. Jeff Bridges is meditating. Next to some
and there's the
magic
old
code.
Jeff Bridges, and then there's the younger Jeff Bridges, like the creepy computer.
Yeah, the young Jeff
Jeff
Bridges
Bridges.
is like a Hitler kind of guy, and he
Yeah.
wants to turn all of the computers, all of the programs into like orderly. I don't even know.
He
what
wants
to.
to. Well, he wants
Take
to.
over.
He wants to convert them all into that, but then also take them to the real world.
Yes.
because like he'd found out a way. If like something can come into the computer, then it can also go out of the computer.
And there's a big fight at the end
Yeah,
to try and stop him from getting out of the computer.
It's a pretty good film. I
Just
enjoyed
an
it.
allegory for 3D printing. That's
3D
it. It's all
printing?
about like he's in the computer. He wants to be out there, so he's
Yeah.
going to 3D print himself. It's just a big advert for 3D printers.
But they work on plastic, and a plastic guy.
They work
Do you
on
ever see Toy
dust-
Soldiers? Small Soldiers. Plastic guys made some serious trouble in that.
Yeah, and they also had batteries that didn't need replacing, and that was
Yeah,
that was
that would have been an issue.
right, because then they could have just waited for the batteries to run out.
but we don't know how long those batteries. I mean, if they put military grade chips inside these robots, we don't know.
Like a nuclear submarine, it could last forever.
Yeah.
Where did they get those military grade chips from?
The military.
dark web.
That's a really good point. They bought
From
them
the
on the dark web.
Nice.
Holy
Thank you.
moly!
Bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Back to topic.
Yeah.
Ed, do you have any pop culture, internet hacking, crime?
Swordfish is terrible.
I was wanting to
So
bring up
bad.
Swordfish.
I mean,
Just
got, like-
John Travolta's hair in that film was enough to not want to ever see it again.
I saw an advert for John Travolta the other day. That was like it was
Just an advert for him.
it was actually an advert
buy
for a
yourself
watch.
a John Travolta.
But it was like John Travolta sitting on like a kind of director's chair, and it was like, "I was the hero. You can be a hero with this watch." And it was just like it's like
Yeah, his face looks like a melted waxwork.
it's huge.
Oh god.
I kind of feel bad though because it's like, you know, I did you see have you watched any of the recent South Park series?
No.
There's an episode. I hadn't watched much of this recent series. There was an episode where John Travolta was in it, and he was just like, you know, it was Steven Seagal. I'm getting them mixed up. John Travolta's a bit weird. Have you ever see Face Off?
Yeah,
Yes.
with his little bum chin.
That's why he grew that horrific facial hair for Swordfish. He wanted to hide his little bum chin.
But that's his defining feature.
The greatest trick the devil ever did was convincing everyone that he wasn't real.
That's so deep.
He
You know,
keeps on saying
you
that
could
in the film,
record.
though.
You could record movie trailers with that voice.
Yeah, we should make
year,
this year coming soon to a
piece of kale near you.
Movies on kale.
movies.
That would get me to eat a lot more vegetables. If I got a piece of little entertainment every time I popped a leaf in my
Ooh,
mouth.
imagine if they responded to being chewed as well. The people in the entertainment, they all screamed as he chewed. Help me!
Do you think people would continue to be vegan and vegetarian if vegetables did scream when you ate them? Because they're still living.
There is scientific proof that plants do this chemically. That when they get chopped up, that's the smell of grass. In fact, the smell of fresh cut grass
That's
What?
the
is,
sorrow.
is the grass screaming and warning its neighbours that it's been cut down. Yeah, and things like bananas or I don't know, some plant. Like if you put a cut banana around other ones, the other ones will wilt more quickly because they know they're
Wow.
about to get cut down.
I'm just sad.
There's chemical symbols.
There are that, like, as in that's a thing in nature. I'm very like, and now we have the technology to kind of monitor it, and we're just kind of like knowing that it's kind of all a bit weird. But
It's Avatar, nature communicating with each other.
what else can we eat though? Because we've got to eat. Do we have to eat? Do we have to eat? What if we find other ways of like? Because you know there are stories of people like, you know, not eating for weeks on end and stuff.
Yeah,
And I mean, everyone just says that's not real because
you can eat something that comes from crude oil. You're not killing anything to get that.
but it's going to run out.
Yeah,
I mean, like, okay, right. So if grass and animals and stuff like that have this, grass has like, you know, and bananas do this stuff. Do insects do the same, or do some animals do the same? Because like, do they actually have the capacity to have that sort of thought process?
Yeah, definitely. Like elephants are known to
I'm-
die of sorrow and through the grieving process.
I
of
mean
the-
more like insects and bugs and stuff like that. Because like, I think I totally agree with elephants and dolphins and all the
there
other
are many
intelligent
social
animals, but-
insects.
Sexual insects.
Social.
Oh,
There are every insect. I'm pretty sure is sexual. Actually, no, some reproduce asexually.
Hmm.
But no, there aren't many social insects.
I like ants are the big one, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Ants.
basically a hive. Bees, wasps.
Well, yeah,
things
bees and
with a
wasps
hive mind.
and termites,
Hmm.
and sometimes grasshoppers as well.
really?
Yeah, well, when they turn into locusts, that's through a chemical. So, if you get a collection of, say, 20 grasshoppers in a tank,
Yeah.
and they're all green, they change colour when they become locusts, and they're all one colour. Then they'll all be very cooperative and very,
Wow.
passive and everything. And then if one of them is subjected to a lot of aggression, it becomes a locust and it gets all angry and changes colour. And then if you put that one with all the other grasshoppers, then they all become locusts too.
That's crazy. I mean, it's amazing, but like, and so it's like a chemical reaction that's caused by
Aggression.
aggression
Yeah.
that then affects the rest of the.
Yeah,
species.
it's a social thing. Whether it's by a chemical or by observed behaviour from one individual to the other, I'm not really certain.
It's
That's
like
really
the wisdom of crowds, isn't it? Like how riots start.
Mm.
You have a flashpoint, one thing happens, and then you get a chain reaction that kicks everything else off. So with the grasshoppers, a single act of aggression turns one of them into like the Hulk of grasshoppers.
Yeah.
And then he's kicking off, so all the others have that same reaction occur.
Has anyone here ever been in a riot? I haven't. But
No.
Or anything
No.
close to one?
I don't think so.
What do you think you do in a riot?
I would like to think that I'd keep a level head and just be like, I need to get out of here. But there's also that sort of thing of like the mob mentality, and
caught up in it.
It could overtake you, and maybe that's something to kind of. I know, like in a court of law, it doesn't necessarily hold up. Where it's like, yeah, but you still did this bad thing. But it's like there is evidence that does cause a change in people's behaviours. Like, because if everyone, it's like broken windows theory. Like, as in, if the windows are broken in the city that you're walking around in, and like everything's a bit messed up, then you're more likely to commit crimes because you're in an environment that makes it look like it's okay to be bad.
Well, that's what happened in the London riots. People started looting, and then people who have never committed a crime in their life, like, well, everyone's doing it. The door to this JD Sports is open. I'm going to go and grab myself a pair of new trainers.
And then weirdly, it went viral on the internet. And what was acceptable in London became acceptable in Manchester and Liverpool. And maybe, it went viral, which brings us back round to computer viruses, which I was trying your tactic of going full circle there, Dan. Did you like it? Did it work?
It almost worked.
Oh,
I was in Edinburgh when the London riots happened. I was at a comedy show at the Stand, which is this little basement comedy club, and one of the comics came on stage and were like, I've just got a text that like there's riots happening, like we all need to just hunker down in this basement, we'll wait for it to pass, we'll be safe, we're all like liberal minded down here, we'll be fine, we'll be okay. And then other rumours started getting passed around the crowd that someone had smashed the windows of Jenner's and stuff, and so we were all ready to be walking out into the apocalypse after this show ended. Nothing had happened.
I mean, that's like that just shows how quickly. I know it didn't happen, but that shows how quickly something could spread like that. And that, like, in the age that we live in, where like before 50 years ago, 100 years ago, it would have taken a couple of days for people to find out about that. If they maybe had radio, it might have been on the news that evening, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's terrible! I can't believe that's happening there." But here it's like, "Wow, that stuff's happening over there right now. We could do it too." And it's just like, I don't know. That seems kind of crazy that it just happens so quickly. And
it depends on the level of it as well. If it's like
a big pillow fight, like a pillow fight around the entire country because everyone just decides to start doing it.
It just takes one mind to do it to get enough traction.
To be fair, if it started raining pillows tomorrow, pillow fight is the first thing I would do.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah. I think that would like make everyone feel so much better about everything. It's like, you know, there was like The Purge, that film where it was like they just went out and they could
like one day
all
crime
they could
is
commit
legal.
Well, no, I don't think it's all crime. I think it's just murder is legal.
Oh, just murder.
Just murder.
The worst
so it's like,
crime.
You can go and kill people legally on this day, and that makes them have this perfect society. If we just had one day a year where we could just go hit each other with pillows.
Yeah.
Like,
well, as long as they're wet pillows. As long as they're not wet pillows. Shit. I was sure I had a point in my head there.
Have you ever had a wet pillow fight? Where are these
I've been hit by a wet pillow.
That must have really hurt. That must have been heavy.
It's not an enlightening experience. It was quite painful. Yeah. But no, soft pillow's good. Soft pillow's very good.
What were the circumstances of you being hit by a wet pillow? I'm intrigued.
It's not clear in my brain. I want to say that it'd been dropped in some kind of water, you know, like a puddle. Honestly, it's not.
Why is the pillow outside?
Jesus Christ! Have I not made it clear that I don't? So, what was your experience of the
wet pillows? Never.
Best or worst hacker?
Mr. Robot was what I actually wanted to talk about, and then I loved the film Hackers. So Ryder's basically stolen everything.
It's just because you spoke about Hackers earlier.
It's because I'm so excited about it. I love Hackers, the film. It's so good. It's kind of a pre-internet, like it was 1995 it came out, I think.
I was born that year.
Well, I don't know what to say to that.
Sorry.
But yeah, no, it came out kind of just as the internet was starting to be a thing. There's a great scene where one of the kids in it gets a new like 128k modem or something, and it's kind of the best thing that's ever happened to them. And they're all these like, they're all portrayed as these super cool kind of alternative types, which what I imagine an actual hacker to be does not fit that at all. I imagine most hackers are like the guy from Mr. Robot, who's a slightly pale, emaciated socially awkward loner. That's playing to stereotypes, but to be that good at something, not just hacking, like, you have to sacrifice something in your life.
I really like the scene in Hackers where they're at Angelina Jolie's house and there's like a big party going on, and then they find her computer and it's all like these kind of nerdy guys in a room just like, oh my god, this is so cool, and they come in and they just start like geeking out and talking about it, and it's just like it was just quite a nice, it's like, you know, there's the normal side of people and then there's like this kind of unspoken kind of club that they're all in, I guess, and they all kind of have this mutual understanding of the internet. Did they have Gary Oldman in it? Was it Gary Oldman?
He's done a lot of things.
Yeah, I know, like, because there's the big evil man. I mean, that might be Leon that I'm thinking of, but...
Yeah, no, there's...
Plays Zorg in The Fifth Element.
Yeah, Zorg's a great character.
Yeah.
It's that guy that's been in a whole bunch of stuff, but no one knows his name. He's like a character actor. He's got a slightly high-pitched, nasally, whiny voice.
Aren't all actors character actors?
No.
Not really, no, because some actors play the same character in every film. Like, what's that guy out of American Pie? You know, the one that played
Stifler. Stifler.
You know, he played a lot of he played in a lot of films outside of American Pie, but he was always fairly typecast in the same.
Yeah, okay, that's
role.
fair enough.
Jennifer Aniston is kind of just more iterations of Rachel in every single film that she's been in.
But someone like Gary Oldman,
Johnny Depp.
Yeah, well, Johnny Depp, latter day Johnny Depp.
He's
a parody of an actor.
Carved himself into a bit too much of a niche there.
Well, what you were kind of saying earlier about other actors basing like their opinions of other actors on the quality of the film that they're in, or like, you know, in a kind of social setting. Like, Johnny Depp must have used to be seen as a pretty cool guy, but he hasn't had a bunch of great films recently. Like,
that's true.
That's made him have social issues.
There was one where he's like, there's just come out where he was like a gangster or something. I didn't see it. The trailer looked great. Sorry, should I tell that story again? Was it really good?
No, I was trying to think what it was, because I have seen the trailer, but I have not seen the film. And then I was thinking, you better not be about to talk about Mordecai, which from the posters alone looks just
why
horrifying.
is something like that even made?
Is that only just coming out? Is that a new film?
Mordecai?
Yeah.
No, that was maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
A year or something.
I've seen it on a lot of best of the worst films.
Yeah.
Of the year
The
lists.
Razzies.
Yeah,
right?
it's going to win them all.
I think.
Apart from the Entourage
Swordfish
movie, that's going to win all the Razzies.
Oh god, that looked awful.
What was that?
The Entourage movie.
There's an Entourage movie.
We'll have an Entourage special soon, because everyone loves Entourage. Turtle and the other guys. Entourage?
I've never watched it.
No,
Entourage?
I've probably seen the trailer 3 times, and it introduces the characters' names in the trailer, and I still don't know them.
There's actors in there doing real life things, judging each other based on their acting skills, social hierarchy.
Is it supposed to be funny?
The first couple of seasons of it were quite funny, and then it started to become too kind of self-serious, and it just lost sight of what it could have been. It was like a Sex and the City for men to begin with.
Right.
These guys being guys, you know, but having feelings too. And then it stopped being that. It was just about famous men having sex with women.
Woo.
And making remakes of The Great Gatsby. That's Entourage in a nutshell. Yeah.
It was Fisher Stephen, by the way. That's the guy who was in
Fisher Stephen, yeah. So there's a scene in Hackers where Fisher Stephen is inside a computer, Lawnmower Man style. Which that's the bit where I do. The film does start to lose me.
Isn't it like someone who's hacking something witnesses something happen while he's inside the computer? So he's like a digital
and then
witness.
he calls up his friends, and then suddenly everyone's like on their BMXs cycling home really quickly to jump on their computer so they can all jump in. They have like a computer war.
I thought this was a realistic depiction of hacking.
It was for a bit.
Well, no,
It doesn't sound very realistic. Like in any way.
It's the antithesis to the realism of Mr. Robot. Hackers is
the opposite.
For when it was made, if you remove the being inside a computer thing, it was kind of it was quite progressive in its depiction of internet technologies. It came out around the same time as The Net, I believe. Sandra Bullock, the kind of internet thriller. That wasn't great, but again, that was probably a lot more realistic in its depiction of the internet.
Well, this is one thing that kind of, like, how can depicting hackers really, like accurately, really be on a par with thrilling, gripping movie making? Because accurately depicting a hacker is just somebody sitting in front of a computer terminal for like 10 hours eating Doritos.
I guess it's like being aware of what the implications of doing that hack would be. So it's like, you know, that the actual act is them sitting down at a computer and typing in a few lines of code and stuff happening.
Code that doesn't even make sense, you know.
But
to most people,
the result of that is then a £1,000 transaction, or like them taking down a website for a number of hours, or inconveniencing a mass amount of people. And like, if it's kind of juxtaposed with the real world actions of the hack happening as they're doing it, then it kind of becomes a bit more thrilling. Or like in Swordfish, you know, you get a blowjob while you're trying to hack something, and that's pretty exciting.
That's what they're in it for. The women.
Yeah.
women love that.
Love those keyboard jockeys.
The hackers.
Really quick fingers. In answering question 2, we'll have a bit of difficulty because there is like some science there, and we have to understand the speed of some certain things. But
well, we already know the facts. This is Trufax.
This is Trufax. So hopefully we'll be okay. We will be okay. So what they say, the wizards, is that, like, you know, we're maybe accessing like 14% of the internet when we're using the conventional internet, and the rest of the internet is made up of the dark web. The dark web accounts for something like 60 petabytes. I think it was something like that. Like, I was like, you know, how much data is in the internet, or how much of the internet is there? It's a lot. There's a lot of data. And if we're just like, I mean, that's all going to be stored in different places. It's not all in one specific location. It's going to be like in lots of different hosting environments. If we lost, but instead, if it was like one kind of powered thing, should I let the cat out?
Just, what do you mean? Are you actually finally going to ask a question?
That was the question.
Oh, right.
You led us on a merry dance there before asking, what does the cat getting out have to do with the dark web?
No, more. If we lost power, how long would it take for like some of the, like, for the internet to actually go offline, or like, because you know, the internet exists as long as it's still kind of powered, I guess, or it's like I guess it kind of. If the internet went offline, do we lose all of that information? It kind of feels like it's its own body of existence.
There's stuff underground. There's stuff stored in nuclear bunkers.
You reckon?
Like banks and that.
Yeah.
You know, people who've got like a really vested interest in the internet being online. Backup generators, underground bunkers.
Yeah.
Magnetic tape storage that can't be influenced by electromagnetic pulse or nuclear weapons or something.
You're basically positing if the internet was just stored on one massive computer somewhere, and someone turned it off,
how long would it take for the last bit of it to stop having power? It's not really a question, in all honesty, because from what I was like wondering how quickly electricity moves, and apparently it's a little bit slower than the speed of sound.
Oh, right, okay. How long before we all... Yeah, right.
So if we knew it was happening, like, what could we salvage? Like, would people have other bits of internet hidden away somewhere that we could try and rescue, try and copy?
I knocked over some water.
Just for the listener at home there. Ryder was very surreptitiously trying to escape from his chair without us noticing. Kicked over a whole flagon of water.
It is a flagon, isn't it?
It's a big metal flagon. And now we're just watching him tidy it up.
What is the internet?
That's a better question.
What is it good for?
Internet? It's good for a lot. Like, you know, I basically learned science on the internet. I did all of my science homework on research that I did on the internet, on the Wikipedia pages for convection and...
I do really dangerous stuff on the internet. Do you want to know what I do?
What do you do?
Check my bank balance while walking across the road. Yeah.
Whoa.
That's dangerous, right? What if I got hit by a bus? Actually... So the last thing that I would see would be my bank balance. That would be so depressing.
But then also, if you got hit by a bus with your bank balance open, if someone was opportune enough, they could come and take that phone. Bastards. They wouldn't care for your life. They don't know who you are, but suddenly they'd have your bank account.
It's like leaving my wallet open.
Exactly.
God damn.
And you'd probably have your wallet on you as well when you got hit by the bus. They'd take that too.
I don't think I like the internet anymore. It seems so nefarious and like it just wants to rob me.
I think we are definitely too trusting of the internet, I would say. Like, as much as I love technology, I would describe myself as a neo-Luddite. If that's not a thing,
Define that.
It is
Define
now.
that for someone who does not understand what that is.
So I love technology, I embrace it, and I do use it every day, but I do quite often consciously find myself trying to move away from it. I don't want to become reliant on it.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm a Luddite in that I'm anti-technology, don't understand how to use it, so refuse to. It's because I understand it that I kind of want to step away from it.
That you're aware of the problems that it
Certainly
creates.
internet technology, like I guess I didn't really have the internet at home until I was like 15 or 16. Didn't have a mobile phone until I was in my mid to late teens either. So like a lot of the kids growing up now get their first phone when they're 6, they've got iPads when they're 2.
Yeah. That's their baseline. That's the crazy thing.
And I don't necessarily...
Paper to them.
Yeah.
Ah,
And like,
whoa,
I don't
yeah.
necessarily think there's anything wrong with that, but because I was raised without kind of all this stuff, I still find it a bit jarring that the first thing to do if anything comes up is Wikipedia. When I was young, would go and look it up in a proper... This is me. I'm not even that old, but I'd go and look it up in a book or
How
whatever.
do you look something up in a book?
The index.
Yeah, they have like an index in the back.
Yeah.
It's like the Google.
But how do you know which book
Ryder,
to
have you
use?
seen a book?
No, I have seen a book, but it's just like, I mean, like,
That's like saying, how do you know what website to use?
with Google.
Yeah, but if you know that you're looking for for information,
Yeah.
then you go to Wikipedia. If you know you're looking for news, then you go to BBC News. If you know you're looking for entertainment, you go to YouTube.
So they're all just different books
They're
on a
different
shelf.
books.
Yeah.
Internet books.
Yeah, or magazines or
Yeah.
the equivalent.
Yeah.
I think, and because I do have that understanding of technology, I know that a lot of stuff is completely secure. It is to everyone's benefit, but I still am untrusting of it, and on a personal level, not because I think someone's suddenly going to steal all my bank details and steal my identity and hack my life. I feel like things shouldn't be that easy. You know,
It is very unnatural in terms of like what the internet actually does and what the internet is. Like, that what the internet is does not exist in nature.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, we can talk. It's like talking over a long distance.
Huh?
It's like a form of communication.
Yeah.
You know, but over like really, really long distances.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's like you're so using the book analogy again. It's like you're in the library from a really far away bit.
Okay, so the internet goes down.
The internet goes down.
In fact, my problem with the internet is not the good parts. I love the good parts. I love the Wikipedia.
That's why they're the good parts.
You know?
Yeah.
They're all right. But then I hate the people that think the internet is limitless. I hate the people that upload videos onto YouTube of them unpacking their shopping from Sainsbury's.
Do people do that?
I love unboxing videos. I've not quite seen anyone unpack their groceries, but unboxing videos in general, fantastic. They're so mundane and dull that I can just sit and watch them. I'm transfixed by them. But I do agree that is why the internet is a bad thing.
Is not going to go to a good place with that. I mean,
No, don't go
seriously.
there. Let's take that train. Let's ride the choo-choo.
And then
bad
people
thought.
who get onto the YouTube video of somebody unboxing their groceries and then start a flame war about...
Yeah, and I
Like-
guess that's just people's that's like a mob mentality. It's like there is that
And
anonymity.
that's great, and now that's recorded in history. Like for infinite times. Would we really be that worse off if this were to just and go up in smoke?
No, like a lot. Like we'd make it work, I think. But like this is the other thing is that I don't think. Like I think the internet as we use it now can go away, but as long as we have technology, we will have peer-to-peer networking, and then that will get turned into something that you can access with a password and stuff like that. Like I don't think it can go away now because of how people use it.
you're quite reliant on it.
Well, it's like you were saying, it's like a way of communicating. Like there was the riots in China that happened with all the students. There's that app called Fire Chat that could make your phone work like peer-to-peer networking. So it's like, say if I had the app, someone else had the app like on the other side of Edinburgh, and like it connects via Bluetooth or something like that, or it's like this own kind of small network. But we couldn't talk to each other because we're too far away. And if the mobile signal was knocked out, we wouldn't be able to. But if there was 400 people in between you and I who also had the app, it could jump between all of those people and we could have a direct conversation because it's running through this other thing. And it's like that app went from about 300 downloads to 300,000 downloads in a day because they knocked out the way of people were communicating, and then they used the technology that they already had to do it in a different way. And that in itself is like, it's another internet, if you know what I mean. It's another...
It's a mesh network.
Yeah, but I think that... I know it's not by definition the internet, but it kind of is.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying...
Yeah, no, I know you're
bad,
not.
I'm just...
That's a nice name for it, a mesh network.
Yeah, like, the internet's generally very central server, goes to everybody, whereas mesh is like, everybody's a server and everybody's a user. Peer-to-peer, you know what you said.
Yeah.
I was going to say something about something. It went away. No.
Away.
Yeah.
Just like the internet, it's gone.
Where? What?
I know.
Oh.
You can't even look it up now because we've not got the internet to do that.
Scaring me.
But if you move to this scenario 50 years into the future, where the majority of the people that are going to be existing at that point will have grown up with the internet, they'll be reliant on it. The Internet of Things, their house will be run via some kind of internet connectivity.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they haven't got that. What's going to happen?
Well, it's any infrastructure network, isn't it? What if the roads all stopped being roads? What if electricity stopped being electricity, or gas networks were cut off?
Well, it's like Wall-E, where they stopped using their chairs.
Yeah.
The
so
internet
people would be
is our chairs.
So people would be shit at first, like they're really bad at running when they first get out of their chairs because they're so fat.
Yeah, and their bones have got all small.
And they just don't even know the concept of being without it. But then eventually they realise that actually their bodies were designed for it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe. Or everything just goes to shit and there's big riots.
We'd lose some things. A lot of convenient things. Like ordering food from an app.
But I mean, like, you remember, like, dial-up was the early forms of internet.
Yeah.
In this scenario, would we lose telephones?
Television. Because a lot of our TV goes through the internet these days.
Does it?
Like iPlayer and stuff.
Oh, yeah, but like the TV would still be there, wouldn't it?
Oh, right, yeah.
Freeview.
Well, Freeview's all digital. Are we saying just the internet goes down or all computers go down?
I don't know.
A Freeview decoder is a computer.
I think one of the key things to think about here is that how rapidly kind of internet technology has advanced. So if an infrastructure like the postal service went down, it's something that's been developed over kind of several centuries since the first kind of piece of mail was sent. But the internet just kind of suddenly came from nowhere, and within 30 years it's suddenly this beast that's running the world.
What would you miss the most?
Porn. I don't believe that.
What would you miss the second most?
Midget porn.
What are you saying about midget porn that it can't be classified as regular pornography?
I was just trying to...
Ryder, you're a bad person.
Yes,
I know, I'm sorry.
So discriminatory. Dan, what would you miss second most?
Like, it's the ease of it to do everything, have that knowledge at your fingertips that makes me kind of hate it in a way, is what I would miss the most. Being able to find out who Fisher Stevens is within 3 seconds of realising I don't know who Fisher Stevens is. That could have been like a 3-week-long quest without the internet, where I'm just asking everyone I see, do you know who this guy from this thing was? And people are like, I haven't even heard of that movie. And then they'd have to go to the video store to find it, download it, or find an obscure print playing at a cinema 6 years later.
You mentioned downloading films. I was acquiring films yesterday, and I read a post on like Reddit or Imgur or something. It was like the 20 best, almost entertaining, gripping scenes from films. And they all did seem very gripping, and of the 10 that I'd seen the films of. And then I realised from the other 10 that these are films that people have been raving about for years that I've never seen. The Breakfast Club, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
There must have been more. I can't remember. And then I was like, well, what do I do here? Well, I can just go and download them.
Yeah.
I can literally just acquire them at almost no expense to me physically or monetarily. So easy.
Yeah.
You know? How did people do that 10 years ago or 20 years ago? If someone says you've really got to see this film,
They waited until it came out on video.
On video,
and
and
they
then
went and rented it.
And if the only copy the video store had was out, then they couldn't rent it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like things used to have a lot more sense of occasion because of that. There'd be like the network TV premiere of a film that had been out in the cinema 5 years ago, and 20 million people will watch it at the same time.
Yeah.
So if Twitter had existed then, but somehow you still couldn't download movies, that would be this huge event suddenly, because The Breakfast Club is on TV. It's on ITV.
I suppose that's what the cinema has become, you know, with their big, like the midnight opening of a film. You know?
I'm really looking forward to the Star Wars release.
Oh, me too.
Because of that, so many people don't go to the cinema now, or they know they can download a movie a week after it's come out.
I think people want to see it in the cinema, which is nice.
But yeah, Star Wars is going to be...
I mean, there are some things about the cinema that are so much better than watching on a laptop.
Yeah, totally.
The sound, the chairs, just the general experience can be...
The collective silence.
Yeah.
But even like the annoying things about the cinema, like the people crunching on popcorn, getting up in your way, looking at their phones during a film.
Who's doing that?
Everyone.
No one's allowed to do that.
People
No,
do
it
that.
shouldn't.
Naughty.
And you know, if someone in front of you opens their phone in a cinema,
I tell them
it
to put it away.
illuminates the entire rows
Yeah.
behind them. It's so frustrating.
But it's still part of the experience. Like,
Yeah.
I've got midnight tickets to see Star Wars next week.
Nice.
Yeah, there are some available.
What day is it? I think I might be off the day after.
Wednesday night into Thursday.
I'll see if I'm working. I don't want my answer on record to be porn, so
Too late.
it is too late. But would you miss the communication? The fact that you can instantly chat with someone, you could FaceTime someone across the other side of the world, because I was thinking about that as being an answer, but I also then get kept up late at night because I'm chatting to people who are available at that point, and it's like I don't need to be having that conversation at that time, but I feel like I do because I've grown up with instant messaging being such a thing.
It's useful, and yeah, I suppose in some circumstances it is good, but you can still make a phone call to somebody. You could before the internet. You could still get in touch with that person.
if anything, it's made me worse at staying in touch with people, knowing that it is that easy. There's not that sense of occasional purpose anymore. It's not like the monthly phone call to someone the other side of the world. You can just send them a sentence in a text that they'll receive immediately. It'll probably wake them up, and then they'll forget to reply. And that's your level of conversation then.
Yeah.
And yet people still send mass text messages on New Year's saying Happy New Year's. You know, there is no real occasion or circumstance. Maybe that's the only thing we share now.
I like to give phone calls. The phone calls are good. When you just have long chats with people over the phone. It's quite nice.
It's more personal.
Yeah. Third question.
Oh, third question. Why aren't bitcoins accepted in shops?
Some shops do accept bitcoins.
First of all, can we establish what Bitcoin is? It's something that I thought I knew quite a lot about until I started to look into what Bitcoin is.
What do you know about it?
It's an open source, software-based cryptocurrency.
What's a cryptocurrency?
Decentralized.
Sorry.
And yeah, that's basically my understanding of it, which I was okay with at just that level. It being kind of like a magic internet currency that wasn't beholden to a particular nation's economy or anything like that, or necessarily the global economy or global events, and that it was quite a fluid means of payment. I knew about Bitcoin mining, which I still don't really understand. It's basically people crunching code or processes, and then there's certain key codes that they have to hit, and that creates a Bitcoin. But I don't understand why or how that happens, and how that became a thing in the first place?
So I think I don't actually know this, but I think something that kind of gave it value was that people started to give it value. Like, as in, say, if it was established early on that there was a set amount of bitcoins, and that anyone has the capability of getting the bitcoins by using these kind of data mining machines that essentially are breaking down the code in the right way that you can then get a bitcoin from them. And it's not like you have to mine an entire bitcoin. You can mine fractions of a bitcoin, and then that part of a bitcoin can be given to someone else to make up a whole bitcoin. What I think gave it value was that some online marketplaces or stuff like that would start to accept it as currency, because they could see that it was a kind of useful thing. Or it's like, I think people would, like, it's that sort of thing of like RuneScape money. I bought 200,000 gold pieces once on RuneScape for like £5 in the real world, and it's like that gave the in-game money real value. Or it's like how EVE Online, you can get game time in the in-game currency is transferable to your subscription. So that's given it a monetary value, and I think that's a similar sort of thing with what happened with Bitcoin, where people saw it as like an exclusive thing that was only a set amount of them. It had quite a catchy name, and it was like, then illegal places started using it as currency, and then it just kind of blew up from there. It became a bit of like it turned into a bit of like a viral currency, if you know what I mean.
Do you think it means anything?
In what way?
In the sense that if you went up to the Bank of England and go, I've got 20 bitcoins, what would they give you in return?
I reckon you could probably go to a bank and say, I've got 20 bitcoins, and they would give you something for it. I don't think you could do it to the Bank of England, but if you went to like Nationwide and said, like, and you want to say, I want a deposit for a house, they say, what do you have? You can say, I've got this amount of bitcoins. It's now established as having real world value.
Is it commonly accepted though? Because there are, I guess this is what the question you're asking. There are places that will accept it.
Yeah.
A lot of them are internet businesses, online businesses,
places, and also places where you want to stay anonymous.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's a decentralized currency. It can't necessarily be tracked depending where you obtained the Bitcoin from originally, but it is quite unstable in that regard, because
there was like a hyperinflation section of it, wasn't there? There was like they were worth tons, and then something happened.
Was it Mount Gox, the Japanese kind of Bitcoin thing? What would you call a Bitcoin kind of thing?
Wait, what?
Was it where they were all stored? Where, like,
it's like a depository. It's like a bank for Bitcoin.
Right. A wallet kind of thing.
No, it's kind of like a
where
big,
you put money.
It's the big house where you put the
bank,
where the Bitcoin lives. But it wasn't really a bank because it was for Bitcoin.
The Bit Bank.
Yeah. So Mount Gox was the big Japanese bit bank. And someone gained access to some of these Bitcoin wallets and just started siphoning off Bitcoins and stealing it, and no one could trace it. And this money that was being held by this company on behalf of the usual normal users. It's similar to
that
like...
could happen to any money though, not just Bitcoin.
Because it was Bitcoin, so if someone kind of robbed a bank...
The currency wouldn't be affected.
Yeah, because that money still
I guess
can exist, whereas Bitcoin can be deleted. It can...
The value of currency is like I guess it depends on people's confidence in the currency itself as well. And with that being so new with Bitcoin, can fluctuate quite wildly. One of the times that inflation really happened with Bitcoin was when it became really valuable when there are currency controls on the Greek economy, when you couldn't take out more than a certain amount of money, but people found a loophole in Bitcoin, but now it's under control by governments who recognise it as a currency, so there are controls on it, which made it less valuable because you can't use it for this loophole.
But in its own way, it then also still retains some value because it's now recognised as a real currency.
This is true.
But
then there's also a difference between... Like, my initial question was what would the Bank of England give you for it? And
probably
that's because, something like the gold standard is set in stone, set in law, whatever, that you give the bank a £10 note and they give you X grams of gold.
Yeah.
That's its literal worth.
Yeah.
Whereas this kind of money, which is purely abstract, is only worth what people believe it's worth. it's like a share in a company or something.
Yeah. Well, there were stories of like people finding a hard drive in a landfill that had like $300,000 worth of Bitcoin on them, and it's just because someone threw it out and they thought they'd wiped it and removed the Bitcoin, and then it just actually had.
Yeah, the wallet is still sat there because it can. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know any better, it can only kind of exist in one. Like every Bitcoin has a unique identifier. It can't be copied or duplicated, so you can't back up your Bitcoin. It's a digital.
Which I don't really understand as a data thing. It must mean that all the Bitcoins are stored somewhere.
Because it's decentralized.
Yeah.
So a Bitcoin miner is actually the person that does all the listing for who owns what Bitcoins. Huh. And the more of that listing, more of the admin of Bitcoins you do, the more of them you get as a return for the transaction.
But then why does it become harder to because like from what I understood, it was like you were kind of.
Because the more transactions there are, the less your transaction fee per transaction, and therefore the less Bitcoins you get for actually doing this mining and this recording.
And this recording right now.
We're recording Bitcoins.
But yeah, Bitcoin mining is still a bizarre thing because it is like mining for gold in a way. Mm-hmm. Like you're digging through the mountain and digging through the rock, and then you're finding that vein. But from what I was reading, as computers are becoming faster and faster and the mining is becoming easier and easier, arbitrarily they can just change kind of how many cycles it has to go through before a Bitcoin is mined. Who's controlling that? Is that kind of something that the software that Bitcoin is based on regulates itself? It realizes that it's got kind of a safety check in place that knows Bitcoin should always be mined at a certain rate to keep a constant flow.
That sounds about right. I feel like I've heard that.
Are you familiar with like a graph that trends towards infinity? It never quite touches it. And so like you get closer and closer and closer. So at the beginning, like Bitcoins are really easy to mine, and then as you mine more and more of them, they get much more difficult and difficult.
It's like halving. You'll never get down to zero.
Until it's trying to get towards the very end, which is like the maximum number of Bitcoin. Back to the original question. Like, when do you see a time when these are universally accepted in shops?
I think eventually. It's a trust thing at the moment. Like certain failing currencies stop being accepted in the nation that it is the national currency for. So, like a lot of Southeast Asian countries will accept American dollars because it's a stronger currency than their own national currency. So Bitcoin eventually will have the trust and the stability that people will see Bitcoin as a US dollar, a pound sterling. It's a reliable.
We should be mining them now.
Well, maybe not Bitcoins, but I think another form of web-based currency. I think if Bitcoin's been successful, maybe it's like there have been other Bitcoin rip-offs, haven't there? That have been successful.
Well, it's not rip-offs. It's an open source.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
Currency, like there was a Dogecoin or something that I saw. Someone just made a currency out of a meme, and somehow it has a value, and I don't know how or why.
That's amazing.
Coin.
Yeah.
Very well.
And is that something to base a currency on?
That's the internet for you.
And that's what's worrying.
That's thousands of hours of cats on YouTube.
Like, if I just printed out a Doge meme and went to the Bank of England, what would they give me for that? Because that's essentially what has happened there.
Spit in your face.
Exactly. So I think Bitcoin is slightly more respectable than that, but not by much. Like, it's still a very niche thing. Like, I would consider us to be fairly technologically savvy. Fairly.
On the, upper 10% maybe.
Yeah, but
like that. But we're not even that good. Like, I mean, we're all right, but like,
I don't know how to program.
No,
but we understand technology, what it can do for us, and we can use a computer.
Yeah,
we've heard of Bitcoin, whereas I'd say a huge proportion.
Can
of the
we use
population.
computers? I couldn't get this podcast to record for about half an hour.
But we're recording it now, and that's what's important.
Yeah,
many people would have given up, but we knew that knowledge was there somewhere. It's an untapped seam of Bitcoin in your mind that
should be mining my own brain. Oh, what if you could turn your own brain into a Bitcoin miner? Huh?
Compared to supercomputers, how powerful are our brains?
It depends. Like
20. So I would say yes, do that in that case. If it was 20 times faster, you'll get 20 times the bitcoins. Let's do
Or
it.
you wouldn't have any thoughts for anything else. So you wouldn't be able to stand up when you're Bitcoin mining. You would just...
what can't we do? It
It's
like
like
you
plunging.
know how mallards or ducks in general, when they sleep, they shut off one side of their brain.
Is that what they do?
Yeah. That's why they tuck one part of their face into their beak,
just-
into their wings and
just
stuff like
start
that.
swimming
And
in
then they always
circles.
have one eye watching for predators,
Really?
and then they can just alternate. So they rest one side of their brain while the other side
Some
is
birds
active.
sleep while they're flying.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's like we just need to figure out how to do that with our brains,
And then we can Bitcoin
mining.
mine to 10, but not the full 20.
So which part is mining? The one that's asleep? The part that's...
I would assume so. Otherwise, what's the point of being asleep? If your active brain is doing the mining as well, then there's no problem there. I'll carry on mining whilst we're recording this podcast.
So in summary,
Right.
we've decided we need to start mining. We should so we need to get a 3D printer
Yeah.
that can print
Spud guns.
spud guns and a Bitcoin miner
And people that have Tron.
and people from Tron. The deep web is a scary place, but has some potential practical real world application if you ever need prescription drugs that your doctor won't give you,
Bastard
Or
doctors.
non-prescription drugs.
or non-prescription drugs, or guns.
Stay in school, kids.
The
Oh, here's the thing. Going through the list of what you can get on the deep web. There's kind of like bioengineering, like what are they called? There's a name for them.
Bioengineers.
The people who want to augment their body with technology.
transhumanism.
Yeah. There's apparently a huge transhumanist subculture. That exists.
Transhumanism.
Yeah.
So cool.
So what? Do
So-
they want to become like the $6 million man?
Well, no, it's basically like saying like human evolution and the speed of it, or evolution in general, just isn't fast enough. So there is a group of people, or it's not. It's actually like a kind of scientific field where
Yeah.
they believe that the next step in human evolution is kind of augmentation
Yeah.
with
Technology. It's
or
like,
with
did you
technology.
ever
It's
play the
emerging.
Deus Ex games?
I'm familiar with the film and the No, wait.
Different, but similar
Yeah.
idea, I
Yeah.
guess, where it's like they've created an AI that is. This is Deus Ex.
Uh-huh.
This is Ex Machina, the film that you're
Right,
talking about.
that's
yeah.
the one.
Yeah, that's like talking about, and that I think translates to like God in the machine or something like that. And that's like basically saying they've created an artificial intelligence that's on par with humanity. Whereas like the Deus Ex series is talking about is like set in the relatively near future, slightly dystopian. To like people opt in to have augmented like a robotic arm
Like a
instead of.
cyborg.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a very cyberpunk kind of thing. So it's people getting augmented eyes and stuff, augmented vision, cameras in their eyes, chips in their brains.
And is this society like socially frowned upon? Is that why it's been relegated?
It's
to
not,
the
but
dark
I
web?
think because of the sort of people who are for it, they're the sort of people that are using the dark web as part of the course. They're the people who are worried that the man's out to get them.
But
They
you
wanna-
also, like, I mean, I've seen TED Talks based on transhumanism and about how nanobot technology does exist at the moment, and like you can have synthetic white blood cells that can produce more white blood cells while they're in your body, but at a microscopic level, and then they just pass out of you once they've done the thing that they're meant to do. And it's like this technology does exist, at the very least, at least in theory, and it's potentially going to be put into like the real world over the next like few generations. And I guess it is, I think it's in the same way that tattoos for a long time were socially frowned upon, and anything where you're kind of modifying your body has like a kind of stigma attached to it. But
Yeah, I see it as because I'm vaguely familiar with these kinds of things, but only in the context of, say, an amputee
yeah,
needs or wants a prosthetic hand that's
yeah,
better than your regular stick with 5 little sticks on
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And can have one that will respond to muscle movements in the forearm and therefore move things in the hand.
So, like, you have people now who are there's someone who has opted in to have or like robotic legs.
So they're going to have their real legs
It's
chopped
already
off?
happened. They had their legs cut off and have
They've,
the sort of
they've kind
blades
of
put on it.
proven the technology on these amputees who have nothing to lose because they've got no arm, they've got no leg. You can pop a bit of tech on there, see if it works. If it doesn't, try the next thing. But these transhumanists are starting to move into the
Would you
realms
ever
of
do that?
actually. Not in the. I wouldn't be an early adopter.
Yeah.
So it's why I don't own an Apple Watch right now. I'm not a first gen kind of guy. I would when the second generation of robotic legs come out and the first one's been a fair success. I'd maybe think.
What happens
about
when the power goes out? You know. What happens if you got cut off from electricity? Can you just not walk after that?
Renewable energies, man. We'll just use the sun to recharge our legs.
what if the sun goes out?
We'll have a water fountain in our legs. It's a hydroelectric power station inside your legs.
But I'm sure a lot of it
will
will run
urine
on.
powered, so you just pee.
Yeah,
and it
just trickles down your leg and filters through, and then you've got drinking water as well.
Have you seen that episode of? Have you seen that episode of Futurama where Bender gets sent to like the robot island, and they're all like they're saying they're going to be natural robots, so he gets rid of his metal body and gets a wooden body that's powered by a waterfall inside himself.
I can't say I have.
It's great, but like it's. Cool. Like, I mean, I don't know. I like. Have you ever seen Ghost in the Shell?
Yes.
It's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
And in that there's like this sort of idea that there was this code that became alive,
Like self-aware.
self-aware to an extent. Like, as in, it knew it was a code, but it was also like it knew that it was. I don't know. It didn't know what it was, and it was like the whole kind of. The merging of a human mind and the artificial intelligence
That's
is kind
scary.
of like it gives birth to the next race, if you know what I mean. It's a great film. It's
Topic for another podcast.
topic for another podcast.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah, we answered the questions ish.
All right. We've learned some stuff. We've confused ourselves a bit, and that's all. That's what I wanted to get out of this.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening.
Hope to see you again. Hope to not hear you again.
To see you again.
To see.
See us
I
again.
guess I'm hearing.
Have a nice week.
I was meaning to address who's ever listening to this.
Hope you hear us again soon.
That's the one.
Does that?
Hear us again soon. That sounds very vain.
It does, doesn't it? It's never something I've said.
We don't want to hear you, but you'll hear us
Yeah.
soon, if you choose to. Vote with your